March 12, 1969. Plei Trap Valley, the place American soldiers quietly called the Valley of Tears. A 12-man patrol from Charlie Company radios in, voices shaking. "Base, we're hearing our dead friends calling our names. They sound so real." Then a blood-curdling scream rips through the static. "Oh God, they're coming from the trees! They're smiling!" 40 minutes later, the rescue team arrived. They found 12 pairs of combat boots standing perfectly upright in a perfect circle. Laces tied. Socks still inside. No footprints, no blood. No bodies. Just the jungle, whispering their names. What the hell really happened to those American boys? This is the true, documented nightmare of the whispering jungle that swallowed entire US patrols. And why some veterans still won't step foot in any forest today. By early 1969, the United States had already lost over 40,000 men in Vietnam. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared the soldiers of the 4th Infantry Division for the Plei Trap Valley. Tucked deep in the central highlands near the Cambodian border, this narrow green corridor earned the nickname Valley of Tears long before most Americans back home even knew it existed. The jungle here wasn't just thick, it felt alive, hungry, and intelligent. Triple canopy so dense that daylight never reached the forest floor, even at noon. Vines thick as a man's wrist, hanging like nooses ready to drop. Trails that appeared on maps but vanished after 20 yards, as if the jungle itself erased them. Constant rain that turned the red clay into knee-deep sucking mud that could pull a boot right off your foot. The air was heavy with the smell of rotting vegetation, wet earth, burned gunpowder from distant artillery, and something sweeter. Almost like decaying flowers, mixed with the faint metallic scent of blood that never quite washed away. The 4th Infantry called this place hell on earth for a reason. Over 80% of their contacts with the enemy happened at less than 30 meters. Half inside 15 meters. The length of a school bus. In that kind of fight, you didn't aim. You pointed your M16 and prayed it didn't jam in the constant moisture. But the real terror wasn't the NVA bullets or the booby traps. It was the jungle itself. A living thing that seemed to watch every move, learn every patrol pattern, and wait patiently for the right moment to strike. The first entire patrol to vanish without a trace happened in late 1967. 6-man LRRP team from the 4th Infantry simply stopped transmitting at 3:14. Their last words were strangely calm. "We're hearing voices. They sound friendly. They know our names." Search parties found their rucksacks neatly stacked against a tree, weapons leaning beside them as if the men had just stepped away for a smoke break. No drag marks, no blood, no shell casings. The official report blamed enemy overrun. The soldiers who walked those same trails knew better. They started calling it the Whispering Jungle in hushed conversations around the fire bases. By March 1969, the disappearances had become almost routine. Charlie Company lost 3 full patrols in 6 weeks. Command kept blaming the NVA, monsoon flooding, or misadventure in hostile terrain. But the bodies never turned up. Not even for the propaganda photos the enemy loved to send to Hanoi. The jungle was taking American boys and giving nothing back. It was as if the men had simply stepped off the face of the earth. Then came the night that broke the men of Charlie Company forever and changed how they looked at the jungle. Sergeant First Class Daniel "Danny" Ramirez, a 28-year-old veteran on his second tour, led a 12-man patrol deep into the Plei Trap on March 12, 1969. Their mission was simple on paper: set up an ambush near an old French colonial trail that the NVA supposedly used at night. The men were already exhausted, soaked to the bone, and on edge after losing 2 buddies the week before in almost the same grid square. At 2:17, the radio operator, Specialist 4 James Kowalski, whispered into the handset with a voice that cracked, "Base, we're hearing voices. They're calling our names. They sound like our dead buddies from last month. They're laughing." Ramirez grabbed the radio. "Cut the bullshit and stay frosty, Kowalski." 4 minutes later, the entire patrol started screaming names of men who had already died. One soldier was heard crying, "Tommy, is that really you? You came back for me." Tommy had been killed 2 weeks earlier at LZ English. Another kept repeating, "Mom, I'm coming home. Please wait for me," even though his mother had passed away before he shipped out. A third soldier was heard whispering, "Sarge, they're beautiful. They want us to join the family." At 2:23, the last transmission came through crystal clear, no static at all. "They're smiling. They want us to follow. It's so peaceful here. No more pain." Then a final scream that still haunts every rescue team that heard the tape. "Oh God, they're coming from the trees. They're smiling at us." Silence. When the reaction force arrived at first light, they found something that still gives Vietnam veterans nightmares decades later. 12 pairs of combat boots standing perfectly upright in a perfect circle, laces tied with military precision, socks neatly folded inside each one. The M16s were leaning against nearby trees in a perfect star pattern pointing inward. Dog tags hung from low branches like Christmas ornaments, swaying gently in the breeze. And carved into one massive banyan tree with fresh, deep knife cuts were the words, "We are home now. Join us. Forever." The jungle around the circle was completely undisturbed. Not a single broken branch, not a footprint leading away, not even a blade of grass bent. It was as if the 12 American soldiers had simply stepped out of their boots and walked straight into the trees, naked and smiling, never to return. That single discovery turned the Plei Trap from a dangerous valley into something the men started calling the Whispering Jungle in terrified whispers around the hooches. Survivors and veterans who made it out would quietly pass down 3 unbreakable rules to every new replacement who arrived at the firebase. Rule 1. Never answer when the jungle calls your name. The whispers always began soft, like wind moving through wet leaves at night. Then they became voices you knew better than your own. Your mother calling you for dinner back in Ohio. Your girlfriend saying she misses you and the baby is due soon. Your best friend from boot camp who died last month. Many men who answered the call simply walked off the trail with a smile and were never seen again. Their boots were found days later in perfect circles. Rule 2. Time doesn't work the same inside the Whispering Jungle. Soldiers who thought they had spent only a few hours lost sometimes returned to base to discover 3 or 4 days had passed. Watches stopped dead at the exact moment they entered. Compasses spun wildly. One LRRP team swore they spent a single night in the valley. But when they staggered back, their beards had grown 2 full weeks, and their sea rations had expiration dates from the future. Rule 3. If you see your own boots standing empty on the trail, run and never look back. More than one soldier reported seeing his own empty boots waiting for him exactly where he had been standing minutes earlier, laces tied, waiting patiently. Those who stopped to investigate were never heard from again. Private First Class Michael Harlan became one of the very few who lived to tell the full story in terrifying detail. In April 1969, his squad was caught in a vicious ambush near the exact same spot where Ramirez's patrol had vanished. A grenade blast knocked Harlan unconscious. When he woke up, he was completely alone. The jungle was deathly silent except for one voice. His dead squad leader whispering softly from the trees. "Mike, follow me. It's safe here. No more war. No more pain. Your family is waiting." Harlan, half-dazed, bleeding from a head wound, followed the voice for what felt like hours. The jungle suddenly opened into a sunlit clearing that had never appeared on any map the Army ever gave them. There, standing in perfect military formation, were dozens of American soldiers. Every single man who had disappeared from the Plei Trap over the past 2 years. Their uniforms were spotless. No wounds, no mud. They were all smiling peacefully. They waved at Harlan to join them. One of them, a soldier Harlan had watched die 2 months earlier, stepped forward and held out a hand, saying, "We've been waiting for you, brother." Harlan ran. He ran until his legs gave out at a fire base 10 miles away. When medics searched him, they found only his dog tags. and a single Polaroid photo that had never been in his camera when he left base. The photo showed Harlan standing in that same clearing, smiling, arm in arm with his missing squad. The date stamp on the back of the photo read 3 days in the future. The Army immediately classified Harlan's entire account as severe combat fatigue. They shipped him home on the next flight out of Cam Bay. To this day, he refuses to enter any forest larger than a city park. He still sleeps with every light in the house burning and a loaded pistol under his pillow. In one rare interview years later, he said, "The command tried desperately to keep the story buried. They blamed the NVA, monsoon flooding, even accidental defoliation exposure from Agent Orange. Internal memos marked secret ordered all reports of unexplained audio phenomena, circular boot formations, and temporal displacement to be reclassified as enemy psychological operations or simply destroyed." But the soldiers knew the truth. By mid-1970, men were openly refusing orders to patrol certain grid squares in the Plei Trap. They began marking those areas on their maps with a small hand-drawn whisper symbol, a circle with a finger to the lips. Some even carved the symbol into their rifle stocks. Even the North Vietnamese army was terrified of the valley. Captured VC documents from 1971 contain repeated warnings in Vietnamese and broken English. Avoid the forest that eats men. Do not enter the Valley of Whispers unless ordered by Hanoi itself. The trees take our soldiers too. One NV, a battalion commander, wrote in his personal diary, "Our scouts enter and never return. The trees take them, and they smile as they go." After the fall of Saigon in 1975, when American MIA search teams finally returned to the Plei Trap under the new government's permission, they found almost nothing. No dog tags, no helmets, no human remains. Just 3 more perfect circles of empty combat boots in locations where entire patrols had vanished years earlier. The jungle had kept its trophies. To this day, if you visit the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., and strike up a quiet conversation with the right old-timers, the ones who still wear their faded 4th Infantry patches and stare into the distance, they will lean in close and tell you the same thing Sergeant Ramirez's best friend told his wife in a letter that was never sent. "Some of our boys didn't die in Vietnam. The jungle took them alive." And sometimes, on quiet rainy nights in the Central Highlands, you can still hear them whispering your name from the trees, asking you to come home and join the family. The Whispering Jungle never signed a peace treaty. It is still there, still hungry, still waiting for the next American patrol, foolish enough to believe the war is really over. And if you ever find yourself walking through the remote green hell of the Plei Trap Valley, and the jungle suddenly goes completely silent, whatever you do, don't answer